Yeah. Welcome back, episode 80 of the Best Damn W Show. We're one episode from the Jalen Rose episode. If you know, you know. Um, Welcome back, you guys. I'm the host today, Nick Andre. Jay will be out right now. He just has surgery on his knee, so I know he's watching right now. I'm sure he's probably gonna be in the comments, but I am your host, Nick Andre.
Also from Benin, 7th century, Fula tribe, I believe.
Nah. Respectfully. And of course, I'm joined by co-host Lo. What's going on with you?
Hey y'all, you know what the fuck going on. What's happening? As y'all know, I had a very long day today, but we gonna get through it.
That's a bet. And then of course we got the best producer in the world, Wiley. Is there also happy belated Easter for everybody who celebrated this past weekend. I hope that you guys had a good time with your friends and fam and all that. But outside of that, how was y'all's Easter weekend?
My weekend was good. We went to church and had Sunday dinner and all that. I cooked some mac and cheese. I'm starting to feel like my friends don't think I can cook. Like, I think that they just think I can only cook mac and cheese because that's the only thing they ever asked me to bring. Now, I do get that mac and cheese is one of the hardest dishes to cook and bring to, a celebration because people can mess up the mac and cheese. So I like that they trust me with that. But it's like, damn, that's the only thing I can cook. Really? Y'all don't want nothing else?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Like, that is probably one of the more important dishes to cook.
It is. So I feel honored. I feel
Yeah.
honored, but at the same time, it's also like, damn, like I really like every time we have something. I literally have to cook something for my one of my best friends. She's throwing a surprise party for her husband this weekend. I literally got to cook somewhere this weekend for the surprise party. Like, it's just always mac and cheese, always mac and cheese. I'm like, damn, I know how to cook other things too, y'all.
What other dishes y'all be having and shit?
At Easter we had a lot of stuff. Salmon, baked chicken.
Shit.
We had ham, deviled eggs, mac and cheese, potatoes, different pies and cakes, rice and homemade gravy. It was a lot of food.
God damn, I was eating good.
Sound like I need to pull up.
I was saying,
pulled up.
I heard salmon. I'm like, okay, he's eating good over there. But now, how about you, Wiley? How was your weekend?
I was at Jillian's house. She hosted.
Oh, shout out Jillian.
Oh, shout out Jillian. Hey, smooth weekend, man. I can't complain. So I did something I normally do not do, and that's kind of celebrate myself. So Saturday, I pretty much got with a couple of friends. We went to this place called Putt Shack, pretty much like putt, but they also have a bar and they serve food there. So I just made it a whole thing as a way to celebrate my birthday with my actual friends, pretty much my gym family, because that's pretty much all the people I hang out with for real. And so I did that on Saturday, and then Sunday, Easter dinner, and watched South Carolina get their doors blown off.
Which we'll definitely dive into. Yeah, I went to church on Sunday. It was actually pretty cool. I haven't been to church in some years, but it's just so funny. Like, so many churches are different. Like, this church I went to, this is my homie's church, and they sung like 3 straight songs. Then we sat down for like maybe a minute and a half, and then we got right back up and sang like another 2 songs. I'm like, okay, cool. Y'all want to sing the whole time? Bet. But it was cool though. It was pretty cool though. Then after that, I had some Thanksgiving dinner, or not Thanksgiving, Easter dinner with my family and stuff. So it was cool. It was pretty cool, chill weekend. And then, of course, what Wiley said, we watched a lot of the games, which we'll definitely dive into. But Wiley, go ahead and pull up the QR code for everybody to subscribe.
Actually, freaking StreamYard, their mini updates has removed the QR code, so everybody just.
Oh damn!
We'll have to get Jay to put the QR code back up.
No, that's a bet. But even without the QR code, make sure y'all subscribe everywhere. YouTube, make sure y'all tap in with the Substack as well. Shout out to the whole team of writers that's with us.
Hold on, real quick. Speaking of the YouTube, real quick, we finally hit 500.
500, yes sir. Yeah, we
Shout out
definitely
to
did.
y'all. Shout out to y'all.
Shout out to y'all. Now that road to 1,000 is up right now. It's up right now. But make sure y'all tell a friend to tell a friend, man. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead, Wiley.
I was gonna say, and it's just like we appreciate everybody that subscribes, and we will definitely continue to ask people to continue to subscribe. It just helps us out because now we can do a lot. We can expand the show a little bit more. It helps us be able to do a lot more things, especially on the YouTube side of things. So we just greatly appreciate y'all.
I was about to take a shot at somebody, but I'm gonna leave.
It's not even worth it, brother man.
but
Am I from Baltimore? Oh my gosh, J-Dub, that's fighting
Damn.
words. That is fighting words. I ain't never been from nobody Baltimore ever. I'm from Maryland, but I ain't from Baltimore, buddy. Big difference. But if you're not from here, it wouldn't make sense. But I was born in DC, moved to Maryland, moved to PG County when I was like 8.
A lot of people do get that confused, don't they?
I mean, Baltimore is a part of Maryland, but
Yeah.
if you from PG County or DC, like, it's two different worlds, even though we 45 minutes away. Like, when I was growing up, it used to be an insult to be called, like, saying that you're from Baltimore.
Really?
Yeah, like it's beef. It was fake beef back in the day. Like, I never forget, one of my ex-boyfriends was from Baltimore. My dad was like, "You put a Baltimorean home?" Yeah, it's beef for real.
Hold on, you said Baltimorean? That is hilarious.
Yeah.
Is that crazy?
Yeah.
Also, hey y'all, Amanda's on time 2 weeks in a row.
Shout out to Amanda. I was looking at the chat now. Shout out to J-Dub.
She cutting up.
J-Dub, J Lens. Who else is in here? I'll be reading the comments most of the time with Jay hosting, so now I'm gonna have to really
we got
tab.
Of course, you know our regulars, BB, J-Dub, J Lens, LeBar up in here, BK up in here. Like I said, Amanda's up in here. We got Pharaoh. Shout out to you as well.
Shout out to Pharaoh. Everybody ready for the day. But
real quick, J-Dub, that's fair. Maryland versus DC, Baltimore accents. If you hear me say "to" and "do," that means you from Baltimore.
Now I ain't gonna lie, whenever I hear like Just Hilarious talk or something like that, I'll be like, "Yo, that's nuts." Because she be saying the same thing like "to." She'll say like other words. Yeah,
they say like it's not hot dog. They say hot Doug. Like, it's crazy.
Doug?
Yeah, they don't say hot dog. They say hot Doug.
I ain't never heard that shit.
Yeah. Some of the words they say, or they call cigarettes fugs. Like, they just have a very unique way of talking.
I do know, like, because I knew somebody who was from Rhode Island, and they call like a water fountain like a bubbler or something like that. I don't know.
Bub? I ain't never heard.
Yeah, I don't think like she. Yeah, I knew like she was from Rhode Island. She said they used to call them bubblers. I was like, what the fuck is that?
I ain't never heard that before.
I guess that's more of a up northern thing. I don't know.
Maybe so. Yeah, maybe further because we technically, Maryland technically considered South. Below the Mason-Dixon line. But
actually, that makes sense. Yeah,
technically it is, but it's not really South.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like, yeah, I mean, y'all kind of like in the middle though.
Yeah,
you want to say that?
Yeah,
I can definitely see that. But let's go ahead and dive into the show, man. We got a lot to discuss, so we don't want to waste no time. Obviously, there's a lot of drama to get into, but let's start with basketball first. Let's go ahead and do that. College season's now over. This past weekend, we had the Final Four. Then we had the national championship game, and we'll start with the Final Four. We'll start with UCLA versus Texas. Give credit to UCLA for the big dub. I'll start with you, though. What was your overall thoughts on that game overall?
You know what? This game to me was one on the defensive end. UCLA ran an absolute master class, defensive clinic, whatever you want to call it, holding the number 2 team in the SEC to just 30% shooting, which is 20% lower than their normal shooting from the field. They typically shoot 50%. And I think it was just also a bit of Texas just not being able to knock down shots. Like, they were just cold from the field and long distance, just a tough shooting night for them. And for fans that don't truly love basketball, this game wasn't as aesthetically pleasing in regards to both teams just struggled to score the basketball. Sloppy with the ball, committing turnovers. In fact, UCLA had 23 total turnovers and they still lost. I mean, they still won. Like, Texas had such a hard time scoring that they only converted those 23 turnovers into 8 points. So from my perspective, Lauren Betts was one of the main pillars in this game, and she led the charge with 16 points and 11 boards. Shot very efficiently from the field, 7 for 10. And I think it's just ironic that the same folks that said she couldn't pan out in the WNBA and she couldn't make it up and down the floor are now changing their tune and saying, you know what, maybe she is a top 3 pick. No shit. she's been that. Like, and I think it's just showed you how casual people are, that they weren't really watching. They just, hopping on Twitter trends as always. Now, from the Texas side, which was surprising for me, Oldacre off the bench was the only player to score in double digits, right? Like
Nuts.
11 points off the bench. And, again, I've said this before on this podcast. I've said it before in other podcasts, but I'm never wrong. Just early, Madison Booker, come on to the front. Okay. 3 of 23 is just simply unacceptable as your best player. Like, you are the face of the program, the one that is getting the NIL deals, the leader of the team. And, I've been on record to say that Madison Booker is extremely talented, especially on the offensive end. But when the lights are the brightest, she has a tendency to shy away. And I don't think enough people are talking about it. And this was one of those games that we saw in 4K. She literally shot a tour date number 3 for 23. You made 3 shots out of 23 attempts. Like, it just wasn't a good game. And I'm going to be honest and say that this might be the worst game I've ever seen her play. I'm going to be honest and say it. Like, this is easily probably the worst game that I've ever seen her play. And I think that when you're a great player, you welcome these kind of moments. And every time that she is in these kind of moments, she falls short. And that's concerning to me. Like, I think she's a good player. I know she'll be good on the next level, but it's concerning to me that when the lights are the brightest, you just always kind of go MIA or ghost. She scored the second lowest points out of the starters. Cunningham was the only person that scored lower than her because she didn't score anything. So in her defense, her teammates, didn't help scoring much. So I don't want to put it all on her, but as a leader, you take the wins on your chest and you also take the losses on your chest. So that's what I got for that game.
Yeah. Madison Booker was out there looking like Paul George in the playoffs. It's nuts.
I'm crying.
But I mean, I agree with everything you said. Like, I'm glad that you brought it up first, because I mean, just looking back at the game, like, it's crazy because she actually made her first shot of the game early in the game. And then you think, okay, this could be a good night for her. And then she went on to miss like 15, 16 in a row. Like,
yeah, I think it was 17.
Yeah, something like that. The thing about it is that it's normal to have bad shooting nights. Like, every night you're not gonna, have the most efficient night, especially when you're dealing with different defensive coverages and everything. But one of my issues was you're not finding other ways to impact the game. Like, are you getting defensive stops? Are you playmaking? And these are areas that I thought Madison Booker actually improved herself upon, at least throughout the regular season.
Right.
And just me behind her throughout the season and then putting up this stinker, honestly, is just very unacceptable. But it's like you said, I mean, just overall, this game was not an offensive performance whatsoever. Give credit to Lauren Best, like you mentioned, had a double-double with 16 points, shot 7 to 10 from the floor. It really was everybody honing themselves in on the defensive end. And I think, like, the one thing that stands out about UCLA is that obviously they're led by Lauren Best, but the thing about UCLA is that it's so crazy to see how well they connect offensively. And it's like, they legitimately don't even have like any like real shot creators like that. Like, your best shot creator is probably Kiki Rice, but even I don't really view her as like a terrific, like a great shot creator compared to like other guards in the country.
Right.
So it's really just them predicating themselves off ball movement, moving the ball, finding quality shots, and the guys and the players are able to knock down shots, honestly. Like I said, give credit to Lauren Best. I thought Gabriella Hawkins had a really good performance as well. And then, of course, even like down the stretch, I mean, Lauren Best getting that big block on Madison Booker to pretty much end the game. So it was just pretty much like UCLA making a lot of hustle plays, honestly. Now, I will give credit to Texas, because even though they did go down early, I give credit to Rory Harmon, because I feel like Rory Harmon was one that really led the charge in the second quarter, at least kind of like cut the game a little bit close. And then, of course, other players, like, I mean, I know that we talked about Madison Booker, but Jordan Lee didn't. I don't think she scored her first basket till like the second half. Same thing with like Justice Carlton. So like, they were getting no offensive production from literally almost everybody, honestly. I mean, it's like you said, Kyle O'Daker was the only player that scored in double figures. Like, if they showed some type of impact offensively, who knows how the game would have been, because they still only lost by 7 points, even though they didn't really have a great offensive game. So, but like, at the end of the day, UCLA was the better team, and that's why they moved on to the championship game.
Is that how you expected the game to go?
No. I thought it was going to be a more highly octane offensive game, if you ask me. Especially when you talk about scores like Madison Booker, Lauren Best, Roy Harmon can score the basketball. I want to say even Jordan Lee had a pretty good performance. Not in the lead. I want to say it was Sweet 16 against Kentucky. She had a really strong game. So there's enough offensive firepower in this game for somebody to go off, but it just didn't happen, honestly. But I mean, but at the end of the day, it is the Final Four. Everybody want to hone in on the defensive end. So guess I can't be too mad.
Yeah, I agree. I actually had Texas winning this game, and I just thought that I thought up until this point they were clicking on the right cylinder. Like it just felt like everything was coming together on both ends of the floor, offensively and defensively. And so when they came out so flat, and when they were just missing makeable shots, because don't get me wrong, UCLA was playing good defense, but Texas was missing wide open shots. Like they were just flat out missing putbacks, layups. Like they were literally just flat out missing, almost like a lid was on the basket. So I didn't expect us to go like that. And to be 100% honest with you, do I think UCLA is the better team? I don't know. They played better.
Tough.
They played better that game, but as poorly as Texas played, with your best player only making 3 shots, they were still in that game. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I know they're kicking themselves in the butts about that, because that was such a missed opportunity right there, to be honest.
Yeah, that's I'm trying to think, like, UCLA to me, they probably play better by committee than Texas. I'll probably give them that. I mean, obviously, like when you talk about like star firepower, like I know that UCLA has Lauren Best, but you talk about both Rory Harmon and Madison Booker, like 2 star players who can get their own. Like UCLA doesn't necessarily have that. Like it's pretty much like that's why I've always been advocating for them to move the ball, or pretty much run things through Lauren Best, because Lauren Best can create a lot of open opportunities for everybody else. So when you look at it from that aspect, I will say that they do play more by committee. But it's like you said, I mean, Texas was playing their best basketball up until this point. But this is the issue that I've been talking about. Like there's moments where Texas can be dominant and they can show that they're best team in the country, best team in the SEC, whatever you want to call them. Hell, they even showed it in the SEC championship game when they beat South Carolina. Like when they're locked in all 40 minutes, they can be one of the top contenders in the country, especially with how they dominated against Michigan. Like the way that they dominated against Michigan, especially on the defensive end, like that's what gave me a lot of confidence in picking them to win the Final Four.
Yep, because we've been talking about their defense basically all season.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I mean it's definitely improved, honestly. And like I said, I mean that Michigan game really showed me like, okay, cool. Like this is a team that's looking to take their game to the next level and possibly get to the championship game. But of course, we saw them laying eggs. So I know that obviously Maddie's the big discussion because of how poor she shot, but just overall, this wasn't really an all-around good game from Texas.
Agreed.
Yeah. And we can dive into the next game, which is the upset. South Carolina beat UConn. And obviously, we'll dive into all the other stuff later. Huge win for South Carolina, I gotta say. And I gotta apologize myself because the whole time I was actually picking UConn. And the way that South Carolina came out and pretty much like had them on the ropes, like putting them in so many pressure situations, like that was just really incredible. So what was your thoughts on that game?
I agree. I mean, I've been very vocal on saying that I thought UConn would repeat this year. Right before the Final Four, I said if South Carolina can keep the game close and it's a tight game at the end, I thought South Carolina could possibly win, simply because UConn hasn't faced much adversity and they haven't they haven't had to play any close games. I mean, I think when South Carolina was when South Carolina had a 6-point lead at some point in the game, the ticker said this is the largest point deficit that UConn has been losing by all season. So that just goes to show you, how dominant they've been this season. But in my opinion, I think this might have been one of the best games that South Carolina had all season. In my opinion, holding the Huskies to just 9 points in the final quarter, just had them rattled. Like this is the first time I've ever seen AZ Fudd hesitate when shooting. You know what I'm saying? Like at a certain point, Raven was locking her ass down so bad the girl didn't even want to look at the basket. Okay, like she would be wide open and still wouldn't pull it because she thought Raven was coming. Like it was just an absolute masterclass. And I think, it was just an important win because this was the first time they held that UConn was held under 49 points since the 2022 national championship against the Gamecocks. So before I break down, what both teams did well and what they could have improved on, I just wanted to also say like the officiating was one of the worst
It was.
that I've seen in I would say I'm not gonna even like y'all probably gonna think I'm exaggerating, but in that first half, the officiating was one of the worst officiated games I've ever seen in my life. Like it was disgusting. And I get it, they were letting them play, but it wasn't basketball. You know what I'm saying? Like it was just like I couldn't believe my eyes. And I don't know if that's how UConn always plays. Let me get this straight first. Missed calls came on both sides of the ball, both UConn and South Carolina. So the whistle was very inconsistent, but specifically on the UConn side, it was blatant. Like it wasn't even like something you can say, oh no, they're just being inconsistent. It was blatant, like y'all dead ass cheating for them right now. Like that's like it was so bad. The foul disparity, and we'll talk about the numbers later, but the foul disparity was so bad that my dad, and I sent y'all a message, my dad, who doesn't even watch women's basketball often, was watching, and he texted me and he said, do they always ref the games like this? He goes, do they ever call a fucking foul? I'm like, nah, clearly not, clearly not. And, so that's like, it's bad that people, casual fans like my dad that are watching it are saying things like that, right? And specifically, I want to talk about Sarah Strong. Great defender, great player, but sister girl is a hacker, a hack. She gets away with a lot because she's savvy and knows how to use her body. But I literally couldn't believe my eyes. And I think it's because I don't watch enough UConn because they just dominate all the other teams that I don't know if this is normal for her. I know she swats at the ball a lot. I do recall that. But she was like boo bumping, swatting at the ball. Like but swatting at the ball while hitting arm, wrist, shoulder. Like, I'll never forget. I can't remember who went up for the layup. Maybe it was Raven or Tessa, but somebody completely took them out. It was either Sarah or AZ, and it was literally no call. And I'm like,
I think I remember what you're talking about.
Yes, like I just couldn't believe it. It was so many moments like that I couldn't believe it. And then in the second half, the refs wanted to call everything. So I'm like, the girls don't even know what to do. They don't know if we can be more physical. Like it's hard to adjust your game when the refs are so inconsistent. You're not calling anything in the first, so the players are probably thinking like, okay, I can be a little bit more physical. And then in the second, you calling everything, sending South Carolina to the line so many times. Now, granted, they deserve to go to the line because they were getting hacked. Like I'm not gonna lie, but you have to call it consistently because the women don't know how to adjust. So I just wanted to say that it was I just couldn't believe my eyes on the officiating, but for me, I think rebounding was the biggest reason South Carolina won this game, in my opinion. They dominated the boards 47-32, and 14 of those boards were offensive rebounds, essentially giving South Carolina second chance opportunities. Fast break points was another thing that stood out for me with South Carolina. They had 16 fast break points to UConn's 9 fast break points. And I think, especially for South Carolina, getting out in transition helped a lot because it gets you easy buckets. And sometimes they struggle in the half court, especially when they're playing a more physical defense, a feisty defense like UConn. And the third thing is basically, like I said earlier, in the second half, them getting to the basket and getting fouls called. They were 18 for 22 from the free throw line, whereas UConn only took 6 total free throws, and their fans were pissed. Now, I get it. If you just see the disparity in the number like 6 to 22, I see how you would be mad. But if you don't box score watch and actually watch the games, you would see the shot selection and know that UConn was jacking threes. Like they shot 21 threes on the night. When you're jacking threes like that and not getting downhill like South Carolina, you're not going to get the fouls called. I mean, it's just simple basketball. And the last thing I'll say about just the keys to the game is just Blanca getting in early foul trouble really hurt UConn, in my opinion. I think it interfered with the things that they were trying to do defensively, because if we all remember correctly, when they were playing Notre Dame in the Elite Eight, she came off the bench and she was the catalyst that kind of started them, going on a run against Notre Dame and ended up having 20 points and 8 boards. So yeah, and I think I know a lot of people will highlight Tanaya Latson in this game specifically because she was the leading scorer with 16 points. But most importantly, grabbing 11 boards, which was great. Like they needed all of those boards. So she did great in that. But I kind of wanted to talk about the freshman Gotti, incredible athlete,
Mm-hmm.
incredible player. But the best thing about her is her fearlessness. That kid don't give a fuck. Like, she
Ballsy as
don't give.
shit, bro.
Listen, she does not care, and I love it. Like, just fearless. Like I said before, it reminded me of Tournament Tessa when she was a freshman and came in and knocked down big shots. Like, Gotti had 14 points off the bench, 5 for 9 from the field, 2 for 2 from long distance. And it wasn't even just her scoring 14 points. It was the timeliness of those shots. Anytime UConn went on a run, she's either stepping back and hitting a long ass three or driving to the bucket and getting a free throw line, going to the free throw line or getting an and one. Like, she was literally just fearless. And you never know how your players are going to react in that situation because nerves are up. They realize the whole world is watching. But that's a kid that I want on my team any day of the week because regardless of the outcome, she's going to play and give you 100% every time. And I'm just excited to see her continue to grow. Like, again, this is the worst we'll see her be. Like, lengthy, athletic, just when she gets like strength and size, strength on her, she's going to be a problem for real. Like, she's going to be real. She's going to be damn good. She's already good, but she's going to be damn good. And just on the UConn side, like I said, tough night for UConn in general. National Player of the Year ended up with 12 points and 12 boards, which if you box score watch it looks like a decent game. But she shot 4 for 16 from the field. And her running mate, who was the potential future first draft pick, went 3 for 15 from the field and 2 for 9 from long distance. And like I said, like, I'm keeping the same energy I had for Maddie for AZ. You are a senior. You are the projected number 1 pick. And this is how you go to your last collegiate game? Like, Raven had her ass in purgatory. Like, literally, Raven was able. First of all, again, I told y'all, Raven's cardio, her stamina, all of that is impeccable. Because at certain point in time, she was chasing AZ around off all them damn screens. And then she was down in the post trying to guard Sarah. Like, she was doing it all. You know what I'm saying? And so just shows how magnificent a player that Raven is, just a winner through and through. But outside of AZ and Sarah, everyone else scored in single digits. So the rest of the starters combined for 14 points for UConn. So they didn't really help. And the last thing I will say is I'm a little bit disappointed in KK Arnold. I thought she got her scoring inabilities together. Hell of a defender, don't get me wrong. I mean, great defender, on-ball defender. But she has to score more. Like, I just thought by this junction of her career, she would do more. And it just hasn't been like that. What you got on the game?
I mean, you pretty much spoke everything, honestly. I'll just piggy off of what you were talking about. I mean, great win for South Carolina. Really great win for South Carolina. You know what? I'll say this. There was like 2 moments that made me think, okay, they really got a chance of winning this game. It was the Gotti 3 at the end of the first quarter. I think they had like got an offensive rebound. Then she made the 3 on the left wing to tie the game up at 15. But also, it was in the second quarter as well. So if people don't remember, Raven just about missed the majority of that second quarter because of foul trouble.
Yeah.
And South Carolina still had control of that game. Because most times whenever Raven's not in the game, I'll be a little concerned. Like, for instance, like I remember when they played against LSU on Valentine's Day, and I think Dawn has sub Raven out the game, and I'm like, oh shit, I don't know what the hell is going to happen. But they still had control of the game. And I mean, I know that UConn ended up going on a run to end the first half, but the fact that they were only down 2 and Raven misses just about the entire, or not the entire second quarter, but like most of the second quarter, that was a good sign for them. And I even tweeted about that. And then boom, second half comes about. They come out the gates strong defensively, crashing the boards. And then, of course, obviously finishing it in transition, like you mentioned, really opening up their lead. So I'll give them a lot of credit. I'll be real, like, and I was also watching the game too, and they were down like 40-30. And it's like you said, like, they had said that like this is the first time UConn was ever down double digits this season. And I'm like, I don't know how they're gonna come back for this because they've never been pressured like this. Like, their only close game this season was against Michigan. Outside of that, they won.
What was that, November?
Yeah, it was in November. That was like probably like one of their first 5 or 6 games. So outside of that, they've been dominating just about everybody by double digits. So now this is the one opportunity to see what they're really made of. Like, how can they play through adversity? How can they play through pressure? And they didn't really show anything. Now, look, I will give them credit because they ended up cutting into the lead like a little bit late in the third quarter.
They did.
But you could just tell mentally they were just out of the game, honestly. And I feel like South Carolina was going to remain in control even after that. I mean, you talk about AZ shooting 3 for 15, Sarah Strong shooting 4 for 16. Like your best player is laying a goose egg, especially in this type of game.
Yeah.
Just really disappointing if you ask me. And I give a lot of credit to the South Carolina because I really don't feel like they had the greatest offensive game, if you ask me. I mean, I give credit to Tanaya. Tanaya did a really good job of, attacking and getting to the free throw line.
Yeah.
Joyce even had some baskets as well. Tessa also had some baskets as well. But just overall, I didn't really think they had the best offensive performance. But it's like you said, I mean, they honed their hat on the defensive end, playing physical, being able to cross the board. So, I mean, that was really important. What you got, Wally?
Just real quick, Joyce Edwards. Joyce Edwards was one of the players that I thought had a good game because she was aggressive. We go, we've been talking about her in the group chat as far as how she's been playing, and I've said personally, I'm like, yo, she has been pissing me off on the way she's played because it's like she gets in certain games and it's like she don't want to. It's like either she don't want to be there. She reminded me of Julius Randle. And here's what I mean by that. If she's not active in the game, she pretty much shies away. After a while, she's a non-factor. Like she's not into the game, and you see it in the play, you see it in her attitude. But this game in particular, she was active on the board. She was actively like trying to make Sarah Strong work on defense, and that was one of the big things for me that stood out was her being aggressive and making Sarah Strong work on defense.
But that was the number 1 versus number 2 high school ranking, so they was going at it for real.
Yeah.
No,
I wanted to also just say real quick, I think a pivotal moment of the game was in the third quarter, the end of the third quarter. UConn went on a run, and Tessa scored 4 points to end the quarter. And she scored like at the last second, at the last second when the time was running out. And I tweeted it, but I was basically like, UConn had grabbed the momentum. And then Tessa, I don't know if it was the third quarter, if it was going into halftime, but Tessa scored 4 points consecutively. And I'm like, ooh, that's bad for UConn because they had the momentum. And then South Carolina was able to steal it back. And I think for me, that was a pivotal point in the game.
Definitely agree. I do want to highlight Gotti a little bit more because that girl's ready, man.
She is.
Dog, she is different with it. You talk about a young freshman like her, and she had a solid tournament. Honestly, I don't know if people really paid attention.
Entire tournament.
The entire tournament had a really solid tournament. The TCU game, she had a strong performance, and then of course that carried over to the Final Four game. Like her confidence is there, and it's not just the confidence either. Like she just has a high IQ and just has a knack for the game and just how to play the right way. But honestly, she's been showing this confidence all season long, like on the defensive end, being able to guard multiple positions, even offensively as well. Like I think it was against LSU. Like she hit like a really big 3 in the corner in the LSU game too. So she's had this confidence all season long, honestly. And then of course for it to be on center stage in the Final Four, like, that was just really
against against an undefeated team that had won 54 games in a row.
Exactly, like undefeated team.
I mean, but Dawn said it, right? Dawn said, she said, I know who's going to come ready. She said, regardless of the circumstances, she said, Gotti's going to get up shots regardless. So you could tell that she's not scared of the moment. And even in a presser, I heard her say, because people forget that she was the number 4 ranked high school player coming out. And I think when she went to South Carolina, people kind of stopped talking about her. And she said that. She was like, I feel like I'm an underdog or underrated because people, like, as soon as I chose to go to South Carolina, people stopped talking about me and people kind of, basically forgot. And so I love this moment for her. And this is definitely going to be a moment that she could build on to continue, to progress in her career.
Agreed. All right. The time to get to the nitty and gritty. I guess we can go there right now. So Friday was interesting. South Carolina gets the win. However, one moment overshadowed just about the whole game.
Yeah.
Don Staley, Gino Auriemma. Obviously, after the game, the coaches, they go down the middle, shake hands. Gino's upset. Gino starts talking to Don, pretty much saying like, "Hey, you didn't shake my hand." I think it was right before the game. So I guess you're supposed to shake hands twice because Don actually did initially. I guess when they were like in warm-ups or whatever it was. But I guess you're supposed to do it like right before the game as well. I didn't know that. I didn't know that that was like a requirement. But yeah, Gino got upset about that, and obviously it obviously made headlines. I'll just say this. I'll say a couple things. Like what's been pissing me off is like seeing all like these blogs and media sites, like whenever they talk about the situation, the first situation that comes up, or like whenever they do talk about it, like the first thing they want to bring up is how Dawn says she'll beat Gino's ass. But nobody wants to go into context as to say like, oh, why does she say that? What made her want to say that to Gino? Nobody ever wants to bring up the first part where Gino actually started the whole situation. So how you gonna get mad at Dawn for retaliating? But obviously you want to make Dawn the aggressor for some odd reason. But
It's not odd. Everything is rooted in
That is
racism.
That is true.
Actually, we gotta rewind back just a skosh
Go ahead.
because of the timeout interview.
Oh yeah,
that he
that's
had
true.
with Holly Rowe.
Good one.
And here we got
Their coach rants and raves on the sideline and calls the referee some names you don't want to hear. And now we get 6-0, and I got a kid with a ripped jersey, and they go, I didn't see it.
So we're gonna stop right there. This became a thing, and so of course, hey Gino, we got this in 4K.
Come on, man, this is for the national championship.
Oh, Gino Auriemma clearly upset at the disparity in fouls. Now here is the physical play that Gino was upset about, that Sarah Strong endured on that final possession, as Strong hooked it up inaccurately, and then Sarah Strong actually rips the jersey herself. Now, we could not tell whether or not it was torn a little bit before she did that, but clearly.
And I hate the damn commentary right there, because you see the replay. There's nothing torn. The jersey is not torn. So what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah,
I'm gonna be real. Gino's a coward. Gino's a fucking coward, honestly. And I'll be real, like, I was never the biggest Gino fan to begin with. I just always respected, what he's brought to the table as far as women's basketball. I mean, you talk about 12 titles, always recruiting some of the top players in the country, putting UConn in a position to be one of the top contenders in the country. So I always respected that aspect of him. But I've never really been a big Gino fan, if you ask me. And obviously, this is just another indication of that. You gotta think, Gino Auriemma is 72 years old. He's 17 years older than Don Staley. He's 52 years older than Sarah Strong. And you're the oldest guy out there acting the youngest. It's just a damn shame, if you ask me. And obviously, I mean, let's just be honest. Like, you're more so upset because you got cooked. Let's be real.
Absolutely.
Don Staley coached circles around you.
Yep.
You didn't prepare for this matchup the same way that Don did. You guys end up losing that game. That's why you're upset. Like, let's get to the bigger picture of it. Because let's just be real. If UConn would have won that game, that would have not been an issue. Because who's going to be that mad the entire game about not getting a handshake before the game? Let's just be real. You got cooked. You're embarrassed. Your 54-game winning streak has just been stopped. That's what you're more so upset about. It's not about no damn handshake. And even like the first statement that came out, I was like, bro, like, what are we doing here? And then you want to backtrack and come out with another statement right after Dawn ended up coming with her statement later today. Like, I'm not here for the BS. And honestly, I mean, this has been nothing new for Gino. I mean, we saw it obviously with Pat Summitt back when they used to go up against Tennessee. We saw it with Muffin McGraw as well. Also, shout out to my guy, Martin Soares. He's one of the hosts of Protect Our Queens. I saw him make a post on Thread. So for those who don't know Martin, he's actually really close to Cabby Pondex. I think she's like a family friend of his. And he talked about, I guess it was like in 2005, I want to say. This is when Cabby was playing at Rutgers. And they played against UConn. I guess Gino said something or did something like that was very disrespectful to Vivian Stringer. So this has obviously been something that Gino has done a lot of times. And also, real quick too, like Rebecca Lobo, like lying on national television, trying to tell us, oh, Gino spoke to Dawn, this and that, everything's good. Like when I heard that on Sunday, I was like, I call cap. I 100% call cap. Because with the way that statement came out and the fact that he didn't even mention Don Staley's name, he had to say the South Carolina staff. Like, we know who you were directing at, bro. your frustration was not necessarily at the entire staff. It was directly more so at Don Staley. So first of all, miss me with that shit, but then also Rebecca Lobo just getting on TV and lying, like that's what made it even worse, honestly. But I give a lot of credit to Dawn, honestly. I mean, Dawn has shown us, obviously, she's a class act. I mean, the statement that came out today, you know, pretty much addressing the situation, asking us to move on. I'll be real. I don't think we're ever moving on from that, just being honest. But I give her a lot of credit, honestly. I mean, I think that, you know, obviously she's past the situation, but let's just be real. Like, we all know the reason why Gino went at Dawn. It's because you guys got cooked.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think it's so much with the situation to unpack. And I'm gonna keep it very short. The reality of it is Gino is continuing to show who he is. Like when someone shows you who they are the first time, believe them. And this is who Gino has been. So for him to try to act like this was a one-off, no, Gino, you've been a sucker. You've been a sore loser. And it's only directed at the women that beat you. Muffet McGraw, Pat Summitt, Dawn Staley. Like it's only directed at the women that you actually view as competition. The women that have coached circles around you at times. And so to me, it's very misogynistic and it's disgusting because people couldn't even really celebrate the game, how big of a win that was for South Carolina, because all the headlines were talking about Gino versus Dawn. And for the people that are bringing up Dawn saying what she said to him, I don't care. Because guess what? At the end of the day, Gino is a man. I don't give a shit what Dawn did or didn't do. You never approach a woman like that. Like the way he did it was just so disgusting to me. You're too old to act like that. And it's just simply white privilege. And I'm sick of people acting like he doesn't get away with shit because he's an older white man. Let's keep it a buck. Like you gave out, like this is too much, especially when she just won a big game. Like a big game where she's going to the national championship. Like you ruined the moment for them kids, like period, because everyone was talking about this exchange, figuring out what he said, figuring out what she said, like, which is not important because guess what? If UConn won that game, he wouldn't have gave a shit about no handshake.
Wouldn't have given a shit.
Let's keep, and then what are you teaching your kids? When adversity hits, you can cower and go to the locker room. You can first of all, you can throw a tantrum, lie, and then go to the locker room. His kids have more class than him. They were able to act like fucking adults and stand in the handshake line and shake hands. You know what I'm saying? But like, it's just, to me, it was just so disgusting. And then for him to come out with the piss poor apology that clearly the university made him do because they saw the traction that it was getting on national television. They saw the traction that it was getting on social media, and they wanted to change the narrative and create a different narrative. Like, oh, he's sorry. No, he's not sorry, because everyone knows that if you are going to try to embarrass me in public, the apology needs to be publicly, and you need to say my name. And so people are in my comments like, well, why does it matter that he was saying her name? I mean, he didn't say her name. We know exactly. It wasn't the staff. He didn't have an issue with the staff. It was literally Dawn. And for white people, maybe you don't realize it, but it's called microaggressive racism. Okay. Like he specifically and intentionally did not say her name. Like, let's be very clear about it. And I'm not going to even say I'm mad at Dawn for being the bigger person, because as Black women, as Black people, we always have to be the bigger people. We always have to be the bigger person because of just how this fucked up world was created. So we have to be the bigger person. If Dawn came out and said, you know what? You didn't address my name. I don't accept your apology. Oh, she would have been the aggressive Black lady, because they already called her aggressive. They were calling her all kind of stuff because she said I will fuck Gino up. She's from Philly. Let's get it very clear. If somebody tries you, I'm going to say the same thing. And I'm glad she said it. Like, so for people not blaming Gino for initiating it, for it to even get to that level, if he didn't initiate it, it doesn't get to that level, and she's not even saying that. Right? So I think people need to hold people accountable. And I'll say, one last thing. This is a pattern. This was not a one-off. Gino has been this way for years. It is documented in Pat Summitt's book. It's been documented all over. We're talking about somebody that was accused of sexual assault. We're talking about a misogynistic man. That's what we're talking about if you want to keep it real. And I don't give a shit that he coaches women's basketball. You can still be misogynistic and coach women's basketball. Mm-hmm. You can still be a racist and say that I'm not saying he's racist, but you can still be a racist and say, oh, I have one Black friend. You get what I'm saying? Like, two things can be true. and it's misogyny. Pat said that in her book, they were at a restaurant sitting on different sides of the restaurant, and he was blurting out her name, calling her things across the restaurant. She felt so uncomfortable she had to leave. He literally used to fax her inappropriate things. Like, this is the same man that has been doing these things, and we're supposed to believe that he's apologetic. Man, please, you should have saved that shit. You should have saved it. And that's all I got, because I can feel myself getting irritated because people are making excuses for him, and I hate that the UConn players aren't stepping up and saying something.
Yeah,
like, y'all are weak, and I'm gonna just call it what it is. Y'all are weak. I know that's your coach, and I know you have an alliance to it, but right is right and wrong is wrong, and he was absolutely wrong. He was in the wrong for it. So for some people to not even want to go on set and talk about it, for some people that are, even Paige, right? Paige said it was unfortunate. No, it wasn't unfortunate. Call it what it was. He was the aggressor. He was the one that started it. He was the one that took the moment from those kids. Call it what it is and stop BSing him because it's Gino. We know what he's done for the women's game. We appreciate it and we respect it, but we got to call it spade a spade. This man has been this way since he stepped at UConn, period. Y'all don't got exactly.
I figured you was going to take it there.
Honestly, and I wasn't even going to go there because I'm tired, but I wasn't even going to go there, honestly. But like, y'all really got me hot because UConn players are not saying nothing. Like,
no, it's no accountability. It's no accountability. I mean, hell, I sent y'all the video. I think it was right after, like the day after, Diana Taurasi was trying to say some stuff like, "Oh, it's Dawn and Gino. They have respect for each other." Like, I'm not trying to hear that. I'm not trying to hear that, honestly. Like, I don't understand what the issue is with holding somebody accountable. Like,
right.
It was some sucker shit. Like,
it was, period.
Like, stop beating around the bush. The shit was some sucker shit. And like y'all mentioned, he's done it time and time and time again. So let's call the shit what the fuck it is. It's some sucker shit. Man up, take that L, and go recruit for next season.
I'm trying to think now. Like, I wonder if this. I'll be real. Like, I would hope that this would affect his recruiting, honestly, because
if I'm somebody's parent as a Black woman, I'm not sending my daughter there. No. I'm not. Right. I don't care. She can go to another school because if you treat another Black woman like that, why are you not going to treat my daughter like that?
Exactly. And Gino always be making like these weird ass comments anyways, honestly. Like, whenever you think about it, like, he be like trying to come off as humorous when he's talking about his players, but I'd be like, bro, like, that's not really that funny to me, honestly. Like, I don't know. I can't come up with an example like right off the top of my head, but like, he'll say stuff in the presser about like a player and this and that. And I'm like, that's not funny at all, honestly. But because it's Gino, everybody wants to laugh at it. And shit, but.
And if we're keeping it a buck, all of this started with that in between, conference or presser with or interview with Holly Rowe in the beginning, or before the fourth quarter started.
Yeah,
like that all started it, because even for him to, the way that he was talking, and Wiley pulled up the video, he already pulled up the video, but the way that he was talking and pointing to the sideline where Don was, like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing?
Like, he knew what he was doing. He knew exactly what he was doing. That's the thing.
Because if Don did all that, what all the headlines say? Oh, Don's acting
exactly.
Don can't control herself. Oh, Don is this, Don is that. But now when Gino does it, oh, he was just in the heat of the moment. Oh, he was protecting his players. Man, shut up.
I mean, we saw it when they played in the championship, and she was just sitting in the seat by herself, and she had that moment where she was just like, yo, fuck. Because she was just upset of how her team was playing. She didn't lash out at anybody. It was just a moment to herself, and they made a big deal about that.
Right. You know how it is.
I'm about to say, they make a big deal about everything Dawn Staley related, man. And then people get mad at like the reason why I'm always defending her. I'm like, bro, like, Dawn has always been class act.
Period.
From the beginning, like ever since she really stepped onto the scene. Not even just as a head coach. When she was College of Virginia, of course, it's her WNBA career. Always been class act, if you ask me. And just all the scrutiny that she's been getting over the years has just been honestly insane to me. Like, Dawn Lily doesn't do anything but just try to put her team in the best position to compete. And what do people do? Find different ways to shit on her and shit. It's even to the point where it's like nobody even wants to highlight South Carolina because they have some fake beef with Dawn Staley. I mean, hell, we've seen it with ESPN. They didn't even have one South Carolina player in the Final Four promo. You could have added Raven Johnson, Joyce Edwards, or whoever. Instead, you wanted to add Hannah Hidalgo, who wasn't even in the Final Four. Like, come on, like, what are we doing here, honestly? So I'll be real. Like, I'm always defend Dawn Staley just because of all the shit that she gets, honestly, because all she does is to try to go out there and win.
That's it, bro. She just be all
Literally.
she does is try to push the game of basketball forward. The game
Literally.
of women's basketball would not be where it is if Dawn Staley did not exist. Let's be very clear. Like, Dawn Staley was not only she's not only a pillar as a player, she's also a pillar as a coach. She does everything to push the game forward. When women coaches start getting paid, who was the first to get paid like that? Dawn Staley. Like, but you know, people have a problem with confident Black women. I mean, Dawn Staley. We can even go back to Michelle Obama. All she did was want the kids to stop being fat, and people was calling her a monkey.
Yeah.
That's it. She just wanted better school lunches, and people calling her a monkey. Like, come on.
Yeah, I didn't get that whatsoever. But moral of the story, to me, Gino's a dickhead. I'm just gonna be honest.
Yeah.
Like I said, I've never really been a big Gino fan like that. But just this situation here, like, I definitely lost all respect for him, even though it was little respect, I must say. But let's go and keep this thing going. Because
hold on, real quick. I wanted to address J Dub. After that interview, Joyce got back-to-back fouls called on her, and that's a fact. And it was touch fouls.
That's true.
I'm like, y'all literally let everyone on both sides get away with a lot in the first half, and then as soon as he started complaining, back-to-back touch fouls on Joyce. Like, come on, bro. Come on.
I remember that shit too.
Me too.
That's what I'm saying. Like, the officiating was just bad all around. Because hell, even in the second quarter, like when Raven was guarding Sarah Strong, like they were calling fouls on her, but was not fouls to me. Like, you know, I thought it was just pretty solid defense, but
it was the same defense that was being played on her. So if you're gonna call it that way, call it the other way.
Literally,
that's
exactly.
That's all.
Literally what it is. But just real quick, championship game, UCLA wins. Just call it what it is. It was an ass whooping. Call it what it is, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, like, UConn pretty much had them on the ropes from the beginning, and they honestly never looked back.
You mean UCLA?
Excuse me. Yeah, UCLA. Excuse me. Yeah, UCLA had them on the ropes, and they never looked back. I'll be real. Like, early in the game, Kiki Rice had hit a 3 to end the first quarter, and I was like, I don't know what this is gonna look like for South Carolina. And I'll give them credit too, because they did try to find ways to get back into the game. They made a good defensive adjustment going more to zone, and obviously that's a good idea, especially with the shooters that UCLA have. And they were really killing it from the perimeter, honestly. But I just think UCLA was just a better team, and they were just bigger. That was literally what it was. They were just a much bigger team, and I don't think South Carolina was able to contain it, honestly. And it made me think too about, because they played each other maybe 2 years ago, maybe not 2 years, maybe less than 2 years ago, during the regular season. And even then, the size of UCLA was really giving South Carolina problems. And I thought even this year, with the additions of obviously Medina and Cole, Miriam Dowda, like that, they would be able to contain and really hold their own. But it just wasn't that, honestly. I mean, UCLA just dominated. They dominated the boards, they dominated the inside, and South Carolina really just didn't have any response.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, the UConn win and all the stuff surrounding it was just so emotional that they got beat. Don't get me wrong, and I'm not using this as an excuse, but you have to kind of think that had a little bit to do with something. Like, all the energy expensed in beating this undefeated team just 2 days before. You get 1 day of rest in between, and it's probably not really rest because you're probably doing walkthroughs and going over game plans and scouting and stuff like that. So, you know, UCLA had the same turnaround, so I'm not making an excuse, but I think South Carolina had to get up to another level to even beat UConn. You know what I'm saying? And
that's
so
true.
Just the old-fashioned go get the switch off the tree ass whooping. That's what it was. I mean, after the first quarter, midway through the first quarter, I literally was like, this game is over. And the people that I was watching the game with, they were like, Lauren, basketball is about momentum. I said, I can tell. Look at their energy. UCLA was knocking down shots. Like, Kiki Rice was hitting everything. Like, too many people were just hitting shots that I was like, it's no way that they're going to be able to come back. And I think when you have a post player as dominant as Lauren Betts, and then when she goes to the bench, you bring another six footer plus in with Dugalage. Like, it's just like South Carolina had no answers for the post presence. So I know Dom better be in that portal this summer, you know, in this week to get some more players. I know Ashlyn Watkins is, of course, coming back, and Chloe Kitts, but I think they need somebody else as well to kind of help. You know, I just think the biggest things were UCLA shared the ball well, 23 assists to South Carolina's 9 assists. They out-rebounded South Carolina. They beat them at points in the paint, 40-28. I think it was just too much. And then on top of that, South Carolina couldn't make anything. They were missing layups. They were missing wide open shots. So when you can't make anything, and then your opponent is literally making everything, and then you're already emotionally drained from beating UConn, and then you're down by so much early in the game, it's just a hard feat to try to come back. So great win for UCLA, though, man. They really impressed me. I'll say one of the people that impressed me the most was Jaquez with 21 points, 10 boards, and 4 assists. Like, she was just hooping, bro. Like, she
all
was
over
hooping.
the place.
Like, I know Lauren Betts kind of got the game started because in the beginning they went to her down low a couple of times, and once I saw Joyce on her, and then I saw Medina on her, and how she was cooking them with her footwork, I said, oh, it's gonna be a long night for the girls tonight. It's gonna be a long night for them. So yeah, I mean, it's really no excuse. UCLA was the better team, and we saw that, and then winning. And I'm not gonna lie. I think Corey Close has had it difficult the last couple years getting there and never really getting over the hump.
Right.
Lauren Betts has put her blood, sweat, and tears into that program, so I wasn't mad to see her get one. I'm happy for UCLA, happy for all the seniors that stuck in there and kind of grew together, because you got to remember a lot, a couple of them stayed for 4 years. Lauren was there for 3 years or whatever the case may be. So, like they put it all together, and they show that when you keep a team together, this is what you can do. Because like you said earlier, Nick, like they're a team that wins by committee. It's not just one player, even though they do have someone as dominant as Lauren Betts. It's not just her. Like it's a all hands on deck type of thing. And so, I asked the timeline, and I'm gonna ask you on here. We didn't even talk about it, but do you think UCLA winning the championship this year, do you think it helps them with their not my son walking in? Hold on, y'all. I'm gonna ask you this question, you can answer. Do you think it helps them? Do you think it helps them with recruiting better players, and also in the transfer portal?
I think it does help. Especially when you're able to win like this. I think that's all it really took for Corey Close was just getting over the hump, honestly. And I mean, just the way that they did it. But then also I gotta give her credit for a coaching job as well. I mean, I think that she adjusted really well. I think that Wiley, get on here with me, so I'm not alone. But no, I think
I got you. Go ahead.
But no, I think Corey Close did a really good job coaching wise. I think that she adjusted really well. I think that she put players in the right position. But like I said, I mean, like I think one of the biggest issues over the past couple of years is the reason why they were losing in the Sweet 16 at LSU. Then they lost. They lost last year in the Final Four against UConn. Like the reason why was because they're not centering the team around Lauren Betts, and they're not getting her the ball. They're not feeding her with the entry pass. Like y'all don't realize, like I know some people, it's like you either love Lauren Betts or hate Lauren Betts. But the one thing that you cannot deny is that she's gonna draw a lot of attention just because she is 6'7" and because she can just score easily inside, honestly. But here's the thing, like even with her getting double team, getting triple team, she's also shown to be a really great passer, really reading the floor exceptionally well, kicking it out to open shooters. Because at the end of the day, it's like when you're going to draw 2 or 3 bodies, somebody's going to be open. And I think that she did a really good job throughout the season of being able to do that, which is why you have big performances throughout the season from Gianna Neekins, Gabriella Jaquez, Kiki Rice, you know what I'm saying? Even all the rest of the players, honestly. So just centering their team around Lauren Betts. I mean, and look, I know that I say that they play more so by committee because they don't really have a lot of elite shot creators like that outside of probably Kiki Rice. But just Lauren Betts' presence alone is what really shapes that team, if you ask me. So I'll be real, like if you are a high school recruit and I mean you're looking at your next school, I mean, obviously with UCLA winning, honestly, like I'll be real, I would look into them, honestly. I mean, I know that this is going to be a completely new team next season. I mean, hell, they're not even on the ESPN way too early top 25, but this could be something beneficial for the program, especially with them as they're trying to recruit new talent.
Yeah, Jay and I, when we was at the Big Ten tournament, we had our discussion and we talked about Kiki Rice. Kiki Rice was one of the players that we were like, yo, like she kind of showed us something within the tournament. And we were like, if she can get that to transfer into the NCAA tournament, like the sky's the limit for her. And I feel like she pretty much did. Like she was very consistent. And I think that was the one thing that I noticed just as I covered the game. I'm like, okay, she's helping control controlled the game, controlled the pace of the game. She was trying to make sure that Lauren Betts got the ball, and that, like you said, it's a team by committee. So once they got to going, like you started seeing everybody else filling those spots and start hitting, and it just bled over into the tournament. And there were concerns. We talked about the Duke game and how Duke gave them problems, but again, it's survive in advance, and they were able to do that. The thing I think after that Duke game, they figured out, okay, we have to really lock in, and we saw that those final two games, the semifinals and then the final game, where they locked the fuck in, and I just feel like Lauren Betts was at that point. It's like, yo, we're not. If we get to the national championship game, we're not fucking losing, and that's what we end up seeing.
She was locked in. Like, hell, I mean, offensively knocking down shots. Defensively, she was swatting everything. She was swatting everything at the rim. So I'll give her credit. And even in the Texas game, because even with O'Daker being such a great post defender, and she was giving Lauren Betts some problems here and there, but Lauren Betts, for the most part, was able to hold her own. So I will give her credit there. But just going back to, I do want to touch on South Carolina real quick, just because we talk about Lauren Betts. And this is not me questioning Don Staley as a coach whatsoever, because I know I love Don. But why the fuck are you guys fronting Lauren Betts without any weak side help? That was what was killing them early in the first quarter. Like Kiki Rice throwing it over the top. Over Medina, Lauren Betts catches the ball. There's no weak side help. That's an easy layup right there. And I'm like, what are you guys doing? Like, that's the last thing that you want to do is give Lauren Betts an open look at the rim. Like,
and all it did was, and then it opened it up. It opened up for everything else that we saw that happen throughout that game.
But even like when I'm thinking about the Duke game, more so in the first half, like, they didn't front on Lauren Betts whatsoever. They just played physical. And look, I mean, this is Lauren Betts going up against Toby Fournier, who probably, I don't even know what she weighs soaking wet. Like, still finding ways to play physical with her, still finding ways to, to pretty much alter her shots, honestly. That's why I didn't understand why South Carolina kept fronting on Lauren Betts with no weak side help, because once you throw the ball over the top and she catches it, there's nothing you could do, honestly. Like, I don't think Medina's that good of a recovery defender like that to where she could block the shot from behind, especially with Lauren Betts being 6'7" and weighing as much as she did. So I think that was just an issue there as well. But like I said, I mean, I give a lot of credit to UCLA because, like, I mean, and even Jay talked about it. Like, they were on like a 16, 17 game win streak at that time. And let's be real, we didn't pay any attention to it.
At all.
We knew that they were winning, but we didn't know that it was this dominating. Even when I went back and watched a few of the regular season games, I'm looking at them. I'm like, this is kind of a different team than what we saw in previous years, honestly. Like, they're moving the ball more, they're playing with more confidence, and they're mostly playing through their best player, Lauren Betts, which generates a lot of open opportunities offensively. So it was no doubt to me that UCLA was going to make a deep run of the tournament. Now, winning a championship, I definitely did not see that, especially when you talk about other contending teams. Like, we talked about it. Texas was playing their best basketball leading up to the Final Four. We picked them to win last week. We did not expect them to lay an egg for UCLA to be able to get that win, honestly. So even with them playing well, there was still some doubts about them, but they figured it out, honestly. I mean, they, like I said, found a way to beat Texas. Then, of course, get to the championship game. And then, I mean, once they got to the championship game, like, they were just more hungry than South Carolina.
Yeah.
I think that was really the biggest thing, honestly. And just going back to South Carolina real quick, Raven Johnson, Tania Lassen combined for 7 points, shot 2 for 12 from the field. Not going to get the job done. I think Raven shot like 15% over the past 2 games against UConn and against UCLA. Not going to get the job done. Yeah. And also, I know that Wiley touched on Joyce a little bit earlier. Like, I'll be real. Like, I can't coddle Joyce Edwards no more. I just can't do it anymore, honestly. And look, I get it. She's 20 years old. She's a sophomore. She still has a lot of room to grow in her game. But my biggest issue with her is that, and it's like Wiley said earlier, like, when she's not engaged into the game, when she's not, like, when things are not going her way, she mentally checks out. And I'll be real, she mentally checked out of that game against UCLA, which is part of the reason why the lead ended up ballooning, honestly.
Because she was getting cooked.
Exactly. And like I said, I mean, like, once she got cooked and once adversity came her way, she checked herself out of the game, honestly. So that's something that she's going to have to work on, is just the mentality. And obviously, she can be better as an all-around offensive player, obviously, with a jump shot. And then, of course, we know with her post play. But and I get it. Like Joyce, like this wasn't really the role that Joyce was supposed to go into because obviously that was the role that Chloe Kitts had, and then of course Chloe Kitts gets hurt right before the season, so now they gotta adjust, and now this is the role that Joyce has. So she was kind of placed out of position, and the pressure was on her to really deliver at that starting power forward position like right away. But still, like you still got to find ways to compete, honestly. And the reason why like I'm very tough on Joyce, and the reason why I get frustrated is because this is a player that I said could put her name next to like Asia, Camilla, Aaliyah, some of the best bigs in South Carolina history. And I still think that she could do that, honestly. But this loss has to put a battery in her back. I mean, you got to the national championship twice and you lost both times and pretty much got blown out of
like 30
games,
at least. Yeah,
exactly. So this should be a battery in her back.
I think it will though, because one of the things I noticed that when they were talking to the players after the presser or in the locker room, they asked her, "What is your message to the seniors?" And she said, "I'm sorry." She was like that we got blown out like this. And if you think about it, these are two tough national championship losses for her. Like not just getting beat, like getting the doors blown off, like in back-to-back years. So I'm sure that'll put a battery in her back and help her prepare, in the summer for next season. But I mean, we got to keep it real. She shot 3 for 10 against UConn, and then 3 for 10 against UCLA, and then 5 for 14 against UConn. It's just not enough to get the job done, especially from one of your best players, one of your offensive best players that was averaging 18, 19 points a game per, this season. So yeah.
It was also.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, it was also talked about in the chat, but I agree as well. I need Joyce to develop a mid-range jumper. She had during the tournament, she had some open spots where she took the shot. She just didn't knock it down. I'm like,
the thing is, I've seen her knock it down before, though. It's just not as consistent as it needs to be. And I think because she's also playing out of position, maybe she's just not comfortable. I don't know. I can't put my finger on it. Now, next year, when everyone's back, if she's still doing the same thing, then it's really no excuse for it.
Exactly.
But if she, like you said, if it becomes consistent, oh man, she gonna be special.
Yeah, just a couple more things real quick. First, Medina, baby girl, like, yo, like these jumpers, like the fact that she shot 2 threes in the first quarter, I'm like,
that was the game right there.
Yeah, pretty much. And then somebody was trying to argue with me on Twitter because I was talking about it. They were like, "Well, she got to be on the perimeter so that Lauren can come out of the paint." I'm like, Medina's not a threat like that from 3. They're not gonna want to come out of the paint
Trust
to defend
me,
Medina.
Corey Close was very excited that she was taking them shots.
Exactly. And then one of them, she hit it off the backboard hard as shit. Like, I'm like, come on, man. But
that tribal shit wasn't about to work on Lauren, so she had to do something. She had to do something. But that's what they were giving, because people were like, she's wide open, she got to shoot it. Like, they were giving that to her for a reason, y'all.
Exactly. And look, I get it. I know that she's made threes throughout this season, but let's just be real.
She ain't made more than 10. I know that.
Exactly. Like, no, like not whatsoever. But then another thing I wanted to bring up as well, Amanda had asked a question earlier. I had missed it. She said, do y'all think Corey can pick up the big O? I think she's talking about old girl that was at Tennessee but then decommitted. I'll be real. I'm sure everybody's on the phone for her at this point. Like,
I mean, everyone.
Yeah.
I think Washington has a good chance of getting her since she's from there, and they didn't do too bad this year. Are they an Adidas school?
I don't know. That's a good question.
I think they are.
They're an Adidas school. She signed a big bag with Adidas, so it makes sense. It makes sense. But I think the 5 schools that she had on her list before she committed was Tennessee, Washington, SC. Was it LSU or South Carolina? I can't remember. But those were the teams that were on the list. And my first thought was Washington, simply because she's from the area. Her family can watch her play. But most importantly, they're also an Adidas school. And they didn't do too bad. They didn't do too bad this year.
No, they got to the second round.
Right. They didn't do too bad this year. And I think just her going there can, take them a little bit further. Okay, so it was LSU. Yeah. Take them a little further. I don't see her going to LSU. I think LSU is probably going to get someone like Talia Cooper or like Liv McGill, like one of those type of like athletic, like shifty guards.
Right. Liv McGill's not bad.
I
That
can
might
see
not
her
be
playing.
bad.
I can see her playing with LSU.
Not facts,
Yeah.
but Big Owen, I didn't even think about that honestly. Like that could be a possibility because I mean, like you said, Washington had a really good season, honestly.
Yeah.
Especially them getting to the second round. And hell, we talked about it a couple weeks ago. They almost beat TCU.
Yep.
To be able to possibly get to the Sweet 16. So if she does go there, like that, obviously takes them to a whole nother level, honestly. Because I mean, this is an elite talent, honestly, an elite all around player. So
shoot, if she declare at a decent amount of time, they could probably pick up some other people from the portal.
Not facts.
You know, because
That's
people
true.
might want to come and play
People
with
gonna
her.
follow.
Yeah. So, but also listen, sister, if you want to go to USC, we got space.
USC is crazy.
We got space. They was on the list. They was on the list.
Oh, were they really on the list? I didn't know
Yeah.
that. Shit, could you imagine that? Jazzy, Juju,
I thought they were on
Sanaya.
the list. Let me Google it real quick. But I could have sworn it was, or was it? I don't know if it was South Carolina or USC. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah, we gotta get that right. We gotta get that
Juju,
right.
Juju better
Let
get
me
on the
see.
phone then.
Listen, apparently she a master recruiter. As you can see, all them people coming to want to play with her.
Right.
Not facts.
Let me see.
Yo, I ain't gonna lie. If y'all chat, if y'all ain't seen this girl play, y'all gotta.
I mean, just the ease of her dunking the basketball.
Yeah. And she was really good in that McDonald's All-American game too.
Mm-hmm.
People that didn't watch. I know that Sanaya Hall ended up getting the MVP, but she was really solid. Can Lindsay work with that kind of roster? I mean, I'll be real.
Okay, yeah. So it was South Carolina, USC, LSU, Florida. Oh, Nick, Florida, and Washington.
I don't think anybody going to Florida. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, she ain't going to Florida.
Nah,
she's not going to Florida. So it's gonna be. I think she'll probably revisit the ones that she had initially. So USC, LSU, South Carolina, and Washington.
Well, we know LSU
want to stay on the
West
West Coast, you know. But
we'll see.
Y'all already know about Coach G. Don't piss me off.
I was actually going to address that too. Honestly, I don't know. I mean, look. I mean, you can't question how Lindsay recruits. Like, there's one thing that, or I don't know.
But this is my thing. Do y'all think it's Lindsay or Jew? But I gotta give Lindsay credit because she landed Jew. But she also had it a little bit easier because Juju wanted to stay in LA.
I guess I would say more so Jew because Jew has that gravity effect. Where
yeah, I agree.
He's now there, so now everybody else is gonna want to follow. Obviously, Jazzy ended up committing there. Sanaya ended up committing there. So I don't know. Like I think I will give Lindsay some credit too, but it's definitely more so Jew.
I agree.
Definitely. But let's go ahead and move on. Let's talk about some W because we got free agency going on. Biggest story that came out yesterday: Angel Reese is officially a member of the Atlanta Dream after 2 seasons with the Chicago Sky. I don't have the exact trade details in front of me, but I know that they ended up trading her, and I know that Chicago ended up getting 2027 first round pick, I think 2028 first round pick as well, a second round pick. I can't remember exactly.
Both first rounders.
Yeah. So I know, Lo, you were talking about how Chicago ended up not getting a player, and I was like, I don't know if I'm too mad about it when it first came out yesterday, but I was like, you know what, they could have at least gotten something. Like, I mean, obviously they couldn't get a piece like with the caliber of Angel, but they could have gotten a solid role player. But who knows? But what was your overall thoughts on the trade?
My overall thoughts on the trade was Chicago being Chicago. I think that for years Chicago front office has shit the bed. No superstar wants to stay there. We saw with Elena Deladon, we saw with Sylvia Fowles, we saw with Kathy Pondexter. The list can go on. So no superstars want to stay there. So this isn't shocking. After the way last year ended with Angel allegedly throwing her teammates under the bus in that article, it's kind of hard to go back to being friends and just playing hoops. Like, that's just not how life works. I think that when you look at the last 3 years of Chicago, they overpaid for Marina, who then forced herself out in a trade. They then traded the 3rd pick for Ariel Atkins, which didn't pan out because that was Sonia Citron, who played well and was an all-star last year for Washington. They then used their early draft pick to draft Haley Van Lith, who didn't pan out to be what she was supposed to because of injuries and just the fact that she's a very undersized guard that wasn't even one of the best guards in college, respectfully. So I still have questions about that draft pick. And then moving forward to this year, kind of starting off the season with trading Angel for a number, first round pick in 2027 and first round pick in 2028. The caveat of this is people are like, oh, we're going to get Juju. No, because the first round pick actually belongs to the Mystics. So therefore, the Mystics are in a great position to get a number 1 or 2 pick next year. And so I actually enjoyed it as a homer because the Mystics are going to get someone decent because we already know Chicago's not going to be good. But more so than anything, I think that, and we talked about it in a group chat a little bit. It's more to the story that I can't publicly say, but Chicago did the best that they could do. I'll just put it that way. They did the best that they could do. And I think that it was good for both sides. It was kind of like, let's cut our losses before anything goes further. And for Angel, it's like she wanted to be in a new situation where she could compete. And so now she's on a team where she can compete. And I think at first glance, Angel makes Atlanta better. You have an elite rebounder that gives you second chance opportunities, which again creates extra possessions and possibly easy putbacks. You have another option in taking pressure off the guards because she can bring up the ball against bigger players. And you have a player that's just high energy that brings that toughness and grit that the team needs. So in terms of like immediate impact, it's more rebounding, better interior scoring, and tougher defense. But the first thing that lit up in my mind when I found out that Angel was going there was, how the hell did Atlanta get away with this without having to give Pow away, Nas Hillman, like Alicia Gray, like one of those players away? Like, how the hell did they get away with that? But second, I thought that lineup is going to be one of the most exciting lineups in the WNBA. And when I say that, I mainly mean on the defensive end. When you have Leash, Ryan, we'll throw JC in there. I don't know if they'll keep her. But Leash, Ryan, JC, Nas, and Angel. My God. That defensive lineup.
Jesus Christ.
My God. Because they're all good individual defenders. So they can also, because they're all good individual defenders, they could probably switch on everything. You know what I'm saying? That's going to be a hell of a lineup to have to deal with when they're closing out the game. Like, that is going to be a hell of a lineup to deal with.
That's a lot of size too.
It is. They're lengthy. And let's not forget that Nas stepped up last year. She was able to shoot the 3 better. But another part of her game that she improved on was her rebounding. Averaged 6 rebounds last year. And then in the playoffs, ended up averaging 8 rebounds. And so when you couple her next to Angel Reese, baby, they might be the leading rebounding team in the WNBA. Like, for real. And then if BG comes back, they're gonna be a big team. And so for me, I'm most excited to see her in Carl Schmesko's system. And one of the questions we had on here was how do I think that they'll do, like Angel, Leash, and Ryan? And I think that it'll work out well. I think it's attributed to Carl's system. It's very player friendly. It's high efficiency and very fast paced offense flow that prioritizes the 3-pointer and just layup. So for reference, under Carl's system, Atlanta became one of the top 3-point volume shooting teams last year. They averaged 28 attempts last year, which was up 9 attempts more than the previous year when they shot 19. So he utilizes a system that moves the ball quickly and heavily relies on cuts as well as screen roll lift actions. And I think, what makes his system so special is that he gives his high volume scorers like Alicia and Ryan, he gives them space to make decisions based on what the defense is giving them. And so I think when you add Angel in that, she helps them space the floor a little bit more. She's down there to also get the rebound. So I think that it's going to be a good match for them. My only concern is just that her fans, to be honest with you, that's my concern. It's just her fans. Are they going to leak into the locker room again like they did in Chicago or again like they did at LSU? And if it so happens this year, if her fans and all of that leak into it again, then we might have to start looking at who's the problem in these situations.
I agree. When I think back at that article that came out with Angel allegedly, throwing players under the bus, I mean, that had to have been the writing on the wall. Like, I don't know how you come back from that. And
Absolutely.
Even then, that was towards the end of the season. And even like the last couple games of the season, you started to see everybody kind of get distant from her. It was the players, it was Tyler Marshall, it was everything. And it's really unfortunate because I really felt like especially with how great Tyler Marsh was in Vegas as far as development and just really, helping, elevate players as a whole. I feel like he could have really done well with Angel Reese. And I mean, Angel Reese
Yeah.
definitely had some pretty good moments, but it just never panned out, honestly. It's very unfortunate, but I mean, it's like you said, I mean, typical Chicago Sky not making the best decisions, and that's why they've been a poverty franchise for the most part, honestly. But just looking at the Atlanta situation with her, I think she's in a very comfortable situation in Atlanta because there's not going to be a lot of pressure on her. And I know people are going to be, I know that people have been like, oh, she's going to be the third option. She's going to be the third option. That's honestly a great role for her, honestly, because I do feel like Carl's going to maximize, obviously, she's going to utilize her potential, but then also maximize it as well. We obviously know that Angel, terrific point forward, can handle the ball, can create as far as like passing, playmaking. Obviously, we know that her offense still needs work, her shooting and everything, and then of course her inside scoring. But I do think that she's gonna benefit so well with them, but then also the other players will benefit as well. Like now, especially with Angel being a point forward and being a ball handler, it takes pressure off of Alicia Gray and Ryan Howard as shot creators as well, because even both of them can play off ball as well, especially more so Ryan Howard, who is an elite catch and shoot player. Like Angel being able to feed here on the perimeter is gonna open up a lot of opportunities in other players as well. Like I think they should play well next to players like Dahina Pow, and then of course other players as well. So I think it's a really good situation for Atlanta, if you ask me. And then, of course, I mean, we talked about defensively, the size, the versatility, how they can switch and defend multiple positions 1 through 5. So, I mean, when you look at Atlanta last year, they were one of the top 3 teams in the league, if you ask me. Like now with Angel, I think they're gonna still be in that conversation, if you ask me, especially with how well that they played last year. And then, of course, Alicia having that MVP caliber season last year, and then of course her looking to carry that over, into this season. I think Atlanta's gonna have a really strong year, if you ask me.
Yeah, I agree. You think she moves the needle?
That is a big question. That is the biggest question. It's really hard to tell because we don't really know what the rest of the W looks like as a whole. But obviously, you're going to expect Vegas to still be in a conversation just because they are the reigning champs and they have the best player in the world. Um, I'd assume Minnesota's going to be there. I mean, I want to say, is it Fee Cord? I want to say Fee is Cord.
Fees court.
She's going to be there. New York, both Stewie and Sabrina, they've already said that they were going to resign. So
JJ said she was trying to resign too. I thought I read.
I think I saw that too. I don't know exactly, but I do. But I do think that I saw that, which is really good for them too, honestly.
Bet Niger should be back.
But not. That's
a changer.
that's
That's a game
I was saying
changer.
that's something that could definitely put New York over the hump right there. Honestly, like
Yeah, they
that
missed her
takes them to a whole
tremendously
nother
last
level.
year.
100%. So I do think Atlanta will be in that mix. If you ask me, at least like top 4. I don't know if it gets over the hump. Honestly, I'll just have to see how the regular season goes. But obviously, Angel does, help elevate that team as a whole.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think that they're depending on who else they get in free agency, it's definitely hard
Right.
for me to say. It just depends on who they get in free agency. But with the core as it is, if it's Angel, Leash, Ryan, Nas, Pow, I don't think that they probably have enough money to bring Bree Jones back. BG, like if that's the core, I think they're still a piece or two away
Right.
from being real contenders. But I think that they make it out of the first round because they didn't even make it out of the first round last year. They lost to the Fever, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, so I think that it definitely gets them further than last year, and I think that they are definitely at the top half of of the playoff picture for sure.
Will we say that they could be better than Indiana? I mean, I know it's tough because I mean nobody has a roster yet, but like their core and
No,
Atlanta's
I'm gonna
core.
say no because I
Okay,
think,
I'm
and
not
I'm
mad
gonna
at
go on
that.
the record and say that, and I said it before, but I think Aaliyah Boston's gonna be the second best player in the league this year.
100%, 100%
So
MVP
I think
candidate.
I think Caitlin's coming back on a vengeance because she missed majority of last season due to
Right.
injury. They cored Kelsey, so you still have those 3 that have played together now for going, to
3
be,
seasons.
it'll be 2 going on 3 seasons.
Oh yes, okay.
So I think that Indiana is going to be an attractive free agency spot because people have seen that Caitlin can get them the ball. And yeah, I think Indiana is going to be decent for sure.
I agree 100%. What other players were core? Because I know Kelsey Mitchell was core, Nafisa Collier was core. I know that there was a whole list of core players.
Um, It was I think didn't they core Leash, or am I tripping?
I think they did. I know Atlanta, they offered both Ryan and Nas something. I can't remember exactly what it
They're
was.
probably restricted free agents.
Probably.
What's it called? Not Dominique. It's Ezzy from Ezzy Magnus. She was cored. Sabrina was cored. I'm trying to think of who else.
Ooh.
Ariel Atkins was cored.
By Chicago, yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember anybody else.
Enrique was cored by Dallas. Interesting.
Oh yeah, Enrique was cored by Dallas, which was surprising to me. But I guess
I know. I figured
but everybody remember, when you cored, it doesn't mean that you're necessarily staying. KP was cored. Yep, they can still package you and trade you. So in my opinion, this might sound crazy. I might think I'm jumping off the deep end, but if I'm in Indiana, I'm shopping Kelsey Mitchell around to see what I can get for her now. Because she was cored the year before this. So this is the second time she's cored. So they can't core her again. So they also cannot pay Kelsey, Caitlin, and Aaliyah Boston super max or max money. So one of them are going to have to go next summer. And I would try to see what I could get for her before she got up out of there for nothing.
I was like, how old is she now? She's at least like late 20s, early 30s.
Probably so.
I want to say. So
yeah.
I mean, obviously she could still hoop at a high level, but I mean, if you're Indiana, if you want to go a little bit younger, I could possibly see that. And I
just don't think they're gonna pay. They can't pay somebody, and she's the oldest out of the three. So I think it's just that. I think they would love to keep her, but I think she's still in her prime enough where she can go out and get a bag, especially after carrying them to the playoffs last year with Caitlin being out.
Yeah, I mean, her value's super high right now.
Right,
Especially, I mean, especially after like what you said. I mean, with them being able to, be able to make that deep playoff run. So
yeah,
we'll see.
For sure.
Actually, I didn't even see this breaking news. Satu Sabali is not expected to re-sign with the Mercury.
I heard that from the grapevine.
It's crazy.
I thought
you might have sent it. I probably missed it.
Yeah. I heard that for the grapevine. Because think about it, they're going to pay AT and they're going to pay Kai.
Yeah.
So, and she thinks that she's going to go, she thinks that she still deserves a max, even though she hasn't really showed, a ton in the last, because she's been injured, right?
Right.
So she hasn't showed a ton, but yeah, everybody's saying, wouldn't it be funny if she go back to Dallas? But one of these teams are going to pay her.
I don't like her going back to Dallas. I don't think that's a good fit. If you ask me, I mean, depending on what the roster looks like, I don't think that's.
Well, it seems like they bought into Lee Yaru, so it looks like they're going with AZ at 1.
Oh damn, yeah, I can see that, yeah. Because I mean, they pretty much already got one of their post players, so.
Yep.
But.
Yep.
That'd be interesting. Anything else you got, Wiley? Or. I'm gonna say I know that we were gonna dive into the portal a little bit. I guess we can discuss that.
I'm about to say, yeah, that's really all we got.
I'm about to say there's a bunch of people in there pretty much. I mean,
yeah, it's not really too much we can probably talk about that next week because I'm sure we'll have more.
Yeah.
But I did want to say, I know a lot of people were asking me, like, where do I think Audie would go? And I've seen a lot of people say, Notre Dame. And at first I was like, man, hell no. Like, she's not going to be able to run with Hannah. And then when I sat back and thought about it, I was like, you know what? That could actually work. And I will only say because I don't know if she would be able to keep up with SEC defenders. So going to the ACC is a little bit easier. That's number one. Number two, Notre Dame loves to build around a post player. And for the last couple of years, they haven't been able to do so, especially with Cass declaring to go to the draft now. And then she will be able to reduce the pressure on Hannah to score all the points because we know that, people say what they want to say about Audie on a defensive end, but one thing you can say is that girl can't score. She can score the damn basketball, averaging 25 points per game on 64% shooting. So I think a lot of people were, of course, concerned about her defense, but when you have somebody like Hannah that is just incredible on the defense end, I think it kind of can hide some of your mistakes. Now, granted, you will have to get other players, of course, that can hide her defensive inabilities. But I'm not too mad at that anymore. And the last place I'll say is I'm also not too mad if she wanted to go to the SEC, which I'm not sure if that's a good idea. But if she wanted to go to the SEC, I could see her doing well at Texas, because they
Texas is
know
good.
how to utilize bigger post players. And you can tell by Vic Schaefer's program that, he assisted in getting Oldacre into better shape. She's a lot slimmer and in better shape than when she first came in. And Texas also likes to play through their post a lot. They're one of the teams that likes to play through their post. So my only issue would be her trying to defend the SEC centers.
That is true, because I mean the SEC is filled with really great bigs, if you ask me. So I mean, I think that'll probably be the biggest chance for her is on the defensive end. Because I mean, like you said, I mean, offensively, she's just as gifted as anybody else on us. I mean, one of the top scorers in the country. So we get all of that, but it's just all about how you can defend, especially in a physical SEC too. Like, I mean, of course, we know about the post present, but just an all around physical SEC. I think that would be one of the bigger challenges. But also, real quick, I see Amanda said talking about Tennessee doesn't have a roster. I mean, look, man. I mean, everybody knew the writing was on the wall once everybody saw how the season ended. You know what I'm saying? Like Kim
But isn't
lost
that
the locker
interesting
room.
that they were willing to let all the players walk and not just fire her?
Yeah, that is weird. That's very, very weird, and I don't understand that. And I
Like,
want to
you
say
had
one of
zero
the
people on your roster.
yeah,
Zero.
that's nuts. And
Now,
it's to the
granted,
point
they're
where
gonna get a team because they can pay. They have money,
right.
so they can pay. But like, I would just think it would be easier to just get rid of the coach.
I think that's what everybody was waiting for. Because I mean, I think a lot of players did wait to enter the portal. Like I know the Pargo twins waited for a minute. Jada Civil the same way. I think she
waited for a while.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I think she just entered the portal like a couple of days ago.
Yesterday, I think.
Yeah, pretty much. So I think people were just waiting to see what the program was going to do, and it seems like they're sticking with Kim's side, which I don't understand. But hey, it is what it is. I just don't get it.
Privilege got to be a great thing.
That's the thing. It was like when you lose like one of the top high school commits.
That's bad.
Exactly. Like that should be like, look, like we got to go in a new direction. Like I don't know what it is about Kim that makes Tennessee want to stick with her. And I'm not trying to question her as a coach, but let's just be real. I mean, she lost the team. Like she lost the locker room towards the end of the season, and that's why they ended the season the way that they did. So I don't know, man. It's gonna be really interesting to see what Tennessee does, throughout this time in the portal or whatever.
Yeah, I agree.
Let's go ahead and wrap this thing up. Actually, Wally, do you have a fit check or no?
No fit check. No fit check.
No fit check today.
Nah,
sorry, y'all. Might have to wait till next time. But that's gonna wrap up the show, man. Y'all got any last thoughts or anything?
No, I mean we're gonna be very busy these next couple of months because the WNBA the draft is coming up. Free agency should really pick up within the next couple of days, going into next week. So we're gonna be talking and yapping a lot. So follow us. All the links. Y'all know where we at. YouTube, every streaming platform, all of that good stuff.
Right. The motherfucking vibes.
You said what?
I'm kind of pissed we not getting a break, dog. I wanted a break so bad.
I ain't gonna lie either.
Hold up real quick. Look who decided to show up at the end of the fucking show.
Oh, we got
Tom. He on a whole different. He on a whole different.
Nah, he know what time it is.
It's probably like what time is it over there, Tom?
It's probably like 1-2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Look, we know why he showed up late.
he didn't want to hear his favorite player get cooked.
He was getting. He already got it in the group chat.
I already know.
He know his girl did terrible. He was even pissed. That's how you know she was doing bad.
Look, I had to mess with him on Twitter. I was like, yeah, make sure you pull up. Make sure you pull up.
Generational shooter my ass.
Yes.
What y'all talking about?
Raven had that girl not even looking at the basket, child. She shot when she was in the corner by her bench and shot the ball over the rim. I said, "Oh my gosh, I ain't never seen her shoot no air ball."
Okay, she had a few air balls and shit. I'm like, yo, This is crazy. This is absolutely nuts. But appreciate everybody tuning in, man. Like Lo said, y'all know where to find us. YouTube, Substack. Like I said, I mean, we're really about to ramp up, especially this W season, and we're gonna be super busy. I mean, draft starts next week. I want to say free agency starts. Oh, wait, no, free agency already started. But I mean, it's gonna be a really busy offseason. I didn't even realize that the preseason actually starts, I think, like the 25th or something like that. So it starts later on this month.
Yes.
Oh, because I remember training camp started a lot earlier this year, right? Like next week, is it? No,
it might be next week.
Maybe like a week and a half, honestly, because I thought it started.
I have no idea. That means teams are going to work
I thought it
fast.
started mid-April.
It probably does. Maybe.
And at
what's
this point,
today?
we already
Today's
at the
the 7th.
7th, so it might start. If it don't start next week, it's definitely in the middle of the following week for sure.
Oh yeah, easily. Because I mean, well, I guess I would probably say it starts the week after next. Because I mean, teams still gotta, construct the roster and everything. Yeah,
right.
draft.
Because the draft isn't
together.
until next Monday.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Because I was contemplating going, but yeah, it's too much. So,
before we sign off, shout out to Phil. He's our winner of the bracket challenge. Once Jay gets his life together, he will reach out. So my thing, I did see him. I did see the winner like tag us earlier this morning. So we'll reach out to you. And
he said, "Yeah, where the hell my gift at?"
You're right. We got it.
I'm crying.
Jay got you covered.
Right.
Throwing this all on Jay. Jay got you covered.
Look, I don't blame him. I'd have been asking too. Like,
exactly.
I said I'm getting that Nike gift card. Run me my gift card. I get it.
But shout out to him for winning. Shout out to everybody that actually participated.
It was low key deep in there.
A lot of people, yeah.
Listen. I thought I had a chance. I had UCLA winning. I was like, please.
It's funny. I had UCLA in my upset one.
But
send me some bread for league pass. I'm crying.
That motherfucker sent me an email yesterday. I'm like, come on, man.
One thing about WNBA, that price will go up every year.
Exactly.
I remember the days I used to pay like 20. I think I paid like $14.99.
Yeah, like $14, $15, like just for the whole season. Now, like I ain't gonna lie, league pass was pretty shitty back then.
It was.
I mean, look, it was still pretty cheap and affordable. Now it is skyrocketed, which is crazy.
But I will say, at least it's not monthly. It's just like
for the whole year.
Yeah,
for the year.
I'll say that makes it a little bit better. Don't go to monthly WNBA, please.
Yeah, don't do that. I mean, you're gonna end up paying more than what you pay for the whole year.
Exactly.
So
right.
Just go ahead and do that. But if that's it, that's everything, man. Appreciate you guys for tuning in, man. We will be back next week. And that's it. Deuces.
Y'all be safe out here. That man crazy.
Oh.
Come on, producer.